Welcome. You're listening to Dupee Deep with Dr. Nikki. This is the place where witty, irreverent, opinionated perspective meets serious, fact-based discussion. Featuring our host, Dr. Nikki Coleman, and her co-host, Tomas Bell. You can also join in the discussion during our live tapings by following us on Spreaker.com. Now, the doctor is in. It's time to get Dupee Deep.
Welcome, everybody, to this abbreviated version of Dupee Deep with Dr. Nikki and my co-host, Tomas.
Hey.
So, just to give you, because, I'm all about transparency in life. Normally, our podcasts are an hour. We set them to be an hour. Sometimes we get a little carried away with ourselves, and they can go over. But we usually set them to be about an hour. And today, we were here on time, ready to go, positive mood. And then we had a hashtag technical fail. Like, for some reason, just the technical gods were not in our, we were not in favor.
The devil is a liar. Do you understand me right now?
I prefer hashtag the devil is a lie. Her whole existence is a lie, not a liar.
Wow.
And it just was like, it was a lot. We use all technology to our advantage. I was like testing settings. We reset our computers. We reopened and reclosed. It was just a whole situation. So we apologize. And we appreciate your patience. And we hope you can just roll with us the way we decided to just roll with this podcast. And we're just going to let it do what it do, because it's all about love.
Show enough face.
So this week has been interesting in the sense that Wednesday was Valentine's Day. Now, and a lot of people roll their eyes and they think, oh, this is just a commercial holiday and love is not a thing that just happens on one day of the year. And you should be treated.
Humbug.
But Valentine's Day was here on Wednesday. And then also tragedy struck here in the United States again on Wednesday. And so I felt like having a podcast about love was really important, given the circumstances of this week. If you don't know by now, and I won't go into a lot of details about it because I really don't want to spend my time and energy really in that space right now, feeling angry and hurt and powerless. But there was another school shooting that happened on Wednesday in Florida when a young man opened fire with another, again, AK-15, a military grade assault weapon in a high school in Florida, and took the lives of 17 people. And so at a time like this, I really think it's important to be able to talk about this idea of love, right? For me, in the big scheme of things, to just get philosophical just for a little bit, spiritual, if you will, for a little bit. I kind of feel like the whole scheme of the universe is always this battle between light and dark. And for me, love is one of the ways in which we can embody and live and experience the light. And I feel like we're at a place where we're really in deficit of that, where I think the idea about love and what it means and what it looks like has gotten distorted along the way. And so I want to talk about this idea that I have that love is a verb. I have talked about my daughter before on this podcast. So, I have a young daughter. And it is amazing how much I learn about myself and really life through the eyes of her. And one day when she was about 3 years old, she and I had this conversation that was very profound for me. And it was about love. And if you ever have the opportunity to have a conversation about love with a 3-year-old, I highly recommend it. It will change your view on life. And she, in all of her innocence and deep wisdom, laid out this idea that love is a verb. And what she said to me was, Mommy, I think love is like when you help me if I hurt myself. If I fall down and you kiss my boo-boos. And I think love is when you make me pancakes on the weekends because you know that's my favorite. And I think love is when we spend time together and we draw and color together. And she stopped me in my tracks because I thought, oh my God, you get it. And how can you get it so clearly at age 3? And a lot of people don't get it that clearly at age 33. And so that's what I thought it would be a good time to talk about and spend some time having a little conversation with my good friend Tomas over there, who once, ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't know that I'm getting ready to say this. He once said, do you remember this, Tomas, when you said love is for losers?
Right. And you and Quincy Jones have just been kicked off my Christmas list because both of you have memories that are far too long, too deep, and too wide. Love is for losers. Hashtag love is for losers is what this loser said before he found love. Okay.
And that's why I had to put you on blast that way.
But now that I got love is for winners. I remember saying that to you. You were dating somebody, doing something. You're always doing something.
They do something.
And I was so annoyed because I was sitting up there in a New York City studio, which for the rest of the world, it's a room.
Hello. All rooms in one.
It's a room with the kitchen, bathroom, all in the same place. And you're talking about love, and I was like, ugh, love is for losers.
And you were so serious about it. It brought me to pause.
I meant that in that moment.
You meant it. It came from like a deep guttural place.
Guttural, visceral place. Trust. Thanks for putting my business in the streets, by the way. Appreciate you.
You didn't see it coming. And I remember that because it took me aback, and I was like, oh, Tomas, like, we need to revisit and check in on some things. You've fallen a mighty long way, friend. And what I always found interesting about that is, I find you to be one of the most loving people that I know. Now, in the sense that you, I think, embody this idea of love is a verb. Tomas is the kind of person where you're like, let me tell you, today I was walking down the street and my heel broke on my shoes. Then I tripped and fell and skinned my knees and And then you'll wake up in the morning and there'll be a $5 Starbucks gift card. Like, go get yourself a latte and sip it on out, girl. And so for me, like, those are the things that when I say love is a verb, it's because, words are important. We are humans. We use words, and words have meaning, and words matter. But when someone's language lines up with their behavior, when someone takes the time to demonstrate compassion, takes a moment to be patient with you, when they do something for you, are there for you, show up for you in ways that demonstrate they've been paying attention to you. They know you. They want to honor and acknowledge you all along. It's not about the big moments like Valentine's Day. It really isn't. To me, that's what I mean when I want to talk about this idea that love is a verb. And I think we've gotten to, I worry that we are in a place where people don't put a lot of substance in the idea of love, because I think there's more emphasis on this kind of brittle love, like this kind of fleeting, romantic, it feels good, I'm excited kind of love. And I think that we got to start to shift our understanding and conversation about it to reflect something that is way more meaningful and substantive and deep and profound.
I call it insta love. using the Instagram hashtag, right? Because that's what a lot of it is. It's that surface stuff. We're walking in the streets and we're smiling and we're taking photos. Meanwhile, we walk back in the house together and you go your way, I go my way, and we don't even speak to each other while we're in the same house. You know, people living these public facades, yet their private lives just don't line up with what they're presenting.
Yeah.
And that's not a judgment. It's an observation. And at one point in time, it was actually my experience. But I realized I deserved more. I deserved to actually practice love, as you said, instead of it being a noun, being a verb.
Yeah.
That's a very different type of relationship.
And it is, because I think that has way more capacity for sustaining a relationship. Because the other part about it is that instant love, I'm like that lustful love, that like, ooh, I get so excited when I see him or her, and they're so this and they're so that. That stuff goes away like pretty soon. Like everybody that I know that's in a long-term committed relationship, you have to have the capacity to look past all of that cuteness to keep you there, right?
Right.
I saw a video recently of this older Black couple, and they have been together. They've been married 49 years and have been together 51, I believe. And it just was a brief interview. I think like maybe their nephew or something like that decided to interview them about their relationship and how long they've been together. And you know, essentially that's what they were talking about. And the wife gave this example of how, if he knows I'm getting ready to go out, I'll go to get my purse and I see my glasses are right there. And she said, I love that. And because what it means to me is that he knows I have a tendency to be forgetful. And so instead of watching me run around like a chicken with my head cut off saying, have you seen my glasses? And oh no, I'm going to be running late. She said he just takes the time to put them by my purse because I can't leave without my purse. She said it's the little things like that have sustained us over the years. She said it may seem simple to someone on the outside, but it's a reflection to me that he recognizes my strengths as well as my weaknesses, and he's there to do his part to support me in the context of my weaknesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just love that idea. I mean, I'm always fascinated as a psychologist, as a researcher, by like relationships that sustain themselves over that length of time by choice and by commitment. You know, you're born into a biological family. And for the majority of us, we are raised in that biological family, or you're adopted into a family and you have connection with them. You grow up in that context, and you're kind of, for all intents and purposes, good or bad or ugly in between, you're stuck with those people, right? They come attached to you. But this idea of the friendships like family, the romantic relationships that you choose and you remain committed in, I find to be fascinating just from an intellectual perspective, but also really heartening and deeply moving, because we oftentimes are able to show up in our more authentic selves in those relationships. And when we're able to sustain our relationships in our most authentic selves with those people, I think that has a lot of impact on how we grow and evolve, how we experience trouble and pain and struggle in our individual lives, because we are held in the context of love and relationship with those other people.
I think what's interesting about what you're saying is you're almost making a distinction between love and a relationship without actually saying those words. And I think that's really important. Another one of the phrases, since you like using my phrases, another one of my phrases that I'm notorious for saying is, love does not a relationship make. Right. And I've said that to several friends of mine, and they, they've run into their feelings. That's real shady. I'm not being shady. You are making a commitment to a man, and you haven't even made a commitment to yourself. You know, in those instances where you show up for the person. And I really like that because for me, showing up for the person